I have a one-man show I'm debuting next week. Starts in Cardiff on the 24th of August. Then we go to London the next night, Manchester, and then Glasgow. All of them are sold out except for Manchester.
Okay.
So it's doing very well. Just I'm going up against the Man U Chelsea game, so I have a feeling I'm going to be. I'm not going to do. I'm not going to outscore the football game, but it'll be great. Should be fun.
Yeah, and tell us a bit about this one-man show.
Well, I've been next year will be my 40th year in the business, and I started out on the ring crew, and then I got to referee a little bit. Then I was a driver for the promoter who was blind, so I was his driver and kind of his man Friday, if you will. I guess you could say I was a butler type person. But because he was blind, I took all of his notes, so I got a great insight in the business, and it led me through the territory regional wrestling organizations into the corporate side of wrestling when I went to work for Ted Turner at WCW, and then 20 years ago, in 1993, I came to WWE. So that's been a unique journey from doing entry level. I made $125 a week all in my first job, and then I went on the wrestler payroll. So you earn what the gate gave you.
Right.
So I've made anywhere from $25 to $40 a night for like a year or so. And that was, you had to pay your gas, your fuel for your automobile, your hotel, your meals, your taxes, all out of what you earn. So I think my story is unique and different. I ended up being the EVP of WWE in charge of talent relations. Had a nice run as a broadcaster, and it all kind of started accidentally, but I never gave up. And I've had 3 bouts of Bell's palsy, the facial paralysis thing, and that's been another hurdle. So I think we're going to try to encapsulate 40 years of earning a living in the business in one show, one night. So I'm excited about it. It's kind of a new adventure for me. I've done some other things. That this is a new deal for me. So I think it'll be fun, and I'm glad that we're doing it in the UK because the fan base there is very receptive, knowledgeable, and they part of my shows are the Q&A, so they can ask whatever they want to ask. There's no question off limits, just like with you. There's no question off limits. I may not know the answer, and I may be uncomfortable answering something, but nothing's off limits as far as that's concerned. So everything's sold out there except for Manchester, and it's doing well. So I'm expecting by the end of the day that Manchester is going to be good. It's at the famous Manchester Comedy Store,
Okay.
where some of the more famous comedians in the past have played, and I'm not a stand-up comedian, but I'm going to play their room, and it's going to be kind of a charge for me.
And was it a conscious decision to do it in the UK? Are you doing a similar thing in the US, or did you just wanted to do it in the United Kingdom?
Well, the opportunity came about. The promoter, Paul Inwood, hosted Bret Hart, the Hitman, last December for 2 shows in London. He mentioned Bret. He would like to use me he'd like to do a show with me because I had never toured. I never had my schedule just wouldn't allow it. So the contact was made, and his people talked to my people, and the people talked, and we got a deal worked out. So, but now there's a lot of interest in doing one in North America and Australia. So it's kind of and unfortunately we couldn't hit all the cities in the UK that we wanted to. We didn't get a chance to go to Ireland. Miss Birmingham, miss Liverpool. A lot of towns, cities that I wish we could have done, but we didn't have the days. So I'm sure we'll go back to the UK. So I enjoy it there. My first show there for WWE was right after WrestleMania 9 in Sheffield. We did a special for Sky Sports back in the day. I don't think I mentioned that, Sky Sports. You know, for another network, I did a wrestling show. So that was it was good. So it was a good thing. And my mother's family, their name is Sheffield, and they come from that part of the world. So yeah, it's kind of nostalgic. You know, I go back to the motherland from my mother's people. So it's good.
And you mentioned your live broadcasting. Obviously, you were an incredible tag team partner, if you like, with the King on Raw. Do you miss those days?
Yeah, I miss the adrenaline rush of doing when the light comes on. I love that aspect of my work and the feeling that adrenaline from the crowd, the live audience. And that was one of the reasons it was always fun to play the UK, because they were always uninhibited and boisterous. I don't miss the travel. You know, security lines and late arriving flights and the misadvantaged airline. You know, I don't want to go into a political rant, but the airlines are, by and large, pretty embarrassing. So I don't miss that aspect. I miss the camaraderie of the locker room, and I miss that. As I said, when that light went on, and you know there was no net, you're live. Yeah. There's no fallback. Oh, we'll redo that. You know, let's just start this interview over, because whatever, it is what it is. Yeah. So I miss that a lot, and I don't think that'll ever go away. Just kind of in my DNA. And who knows? I don't know that I've called my last match. I don't know that to be factual. No one's told me that. So, but my health issues were becoming problematic, and Bell's palsy is a unique affliction. The neurologists don't know what causes it, and they don't know what cures it. They think stress causes it. Well, you're doing live TV, and then you're flying, and you're and the job I had with managing a talent roster, I could see where that could be stressful to some. So I think WWE's kind of protecting me from me in that regard. Yeah. But I feel great. I look like an old shoe. I get it, but it is what it is. And people, why don't you smile, JR? I said, well, I am smiling. You just can't see it. So, but I do miss it, and it was a wonderful run. It was a wonderful run. It was a dream come true for a wrestling fan who wasn't a great athlete, who didn't have a family member in the business, who got in the business kind of through the back door, to have a 40-year career. I had to find my niche and not allow myself to get discouraged and fail. Yeah. And then when I got ill and the facial paralysis, when you have a chubby face and a southern accent and then add Bell's palsy to it, you're not supposed to be successful. So somehow I endured that, and I just refused to say, hell, I'm not letting this beat me. I'm going to continue until someone drags me screaming and kicking away from the table, and that's almost what happened.
Mm. Well, my mother actually had 2 bouts of Bell's palsy around the same time that you did. So actually seeing you on TV and knowing that had happened actually helped us, because I felt I knew more about it than I obviously would have done. So thank you for that in a strange way.
How's she, good?
Yeah, she's fine now.
Good.
She's fine.
Most people get over it. I know this is not a medical show. We're doing a medical talk show here. That's kind of we're out of that demo, but normally one heals from it in a few weeks. Yeah. And normally you don't get it but one time, if you ever get it. When I woke up with it. I woke up with it one morning, and I thought I had a stroke during the night. Yeah. I said, "My God, I'm really sick." And then you get diagnosed, and they tell you what it is, and I had to go. What is this thing? So I now have on my iPad. I have the Bell's palsy website. And I'm always going back there looking for new information to see if there's something that's out there that might ease the condition, where I could regain my smile. So Shawn Michaels said one time he lost his smile. I really lost my smile, but it's been a blessed run. I'm happy. I'm really happy about where I am right now.
Well, that's great. And you talked about, you say you might not have called your last match. It's amazing to see you come out and call matches like, I guess, Triple H, Undertaker, Hell in the Cell was the last one at Mania 28. And it just feels, and I think everyone agrees, it feels more special when you're calling a match. And I really mean that, because as a fan of it, as a fan of the business, you know, hearing your famous calls is amazing. When you sort of talk about future dream matches out of the roster that's there now, what dream match would you like to call?
Well, you know, because I was involved in talent relations and managing that group of talent, men and women, there's a lot of talent that I'm close to, because a lot of the guys that are still competing are guys that I signed. They were my recruits, so to speak. But I guess, you know, the probably the obvious answer, if Stone Cold came back for one last match, don't know if that'll ever happen, but if it does, or if it did, I would love to have the opportunity to call that. I think it would be fitting if we knew that was his last one. That would be really an experience. But I could say the same thing about, I'd love to call the Undertaker's last match at WrestleMania. You know, Triple H is another guy that I signed back in the mid-'90s that I would love to, if he ever decides to officially hang it up. You know, anytime you can help someone close their career and be at the point of that end of an era thing, I think that's kind of would be on my bucket list. Yeah. The Austin, Undertaker, Triple H. You know, I got to do that with Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair here. Just things like that to me are still sentimental. You know, they're the kind you'd pay your own travel to get there, and you'd do it for free type deal. That would be no problem. I would be happy to. That would be a great deal.
I remember your call at the end of HBK Taker 1 at WrestleMania 25, and you just said, as a wrestling fan, what more can you ask for? And it felt like you were quite emotional calling that match.
Well, you know, I always, I never played the role of a wrestling announcer. I'm not an actor. So what you heard from me was, for better or for worse, was me. And it was real. So I'm a fan of the genre. I like the guys that, you know, they're you felt like a coach, and they were your players. So there was a relationship there beyond the showbiz of the TV persona. You knew them as men and women, professionals. So I couldn't separate that from JR that went out to the announce table. So what you saw there was what I am. Like again, some people like my work and some maybe not so much, but it was real. Yeah. And that's what I would encourage any broadcaster. Just if it's meant to be, then it will happen. But be yourself. Yeah. And that way, I can't see through the TV that you're zooming me here a little bit. You know, you're not real. You're not honest. So now I tune you out. And I think that our business is such a showbiz spectacle that if I could convince the audience to suspend their disbelief for a few moments and get lost in the story, then I felt like I'd done my job. It always came to me, the way I always approached it, was that the wrestlers made music. They all had their own tune, their own pitch, their own sound, but the wrestlers made the music, and it was incumbent upon guys like me to provide the lyrics to their music. So whatever they were playing, we had to come up with the appropriate lyric to fit that and make it a great song. So that's kind of how I always approached it. The music started the process. In other words, the in-ring activity, physicality, athleticism, whatever, started the process. Then it was incumbent upon us to add those lyrics to make it memorable. And that's what I try to do.
Well, you've certainly made a jam-packed album of amazing songs. And what I'm sure you get asked this all the time, and I'm sure it's quite difficult to answer, but have you got any highlights that really stand out for you from your live broadcasting days?
Well, you know, my debut in WWE was at WrestleMania 9,
I remember the outfit.
Yeah, a toga. That was a beaut. And here, here's the interesting thing about that. A, I had never worn a toga in my life. B, I worked in sandals, so that was a new deal. Bobby Heenan tried to get me to go commando, not wear any underwear, and I felt there was something suspicious about that request, so I thwarted it. No, it ain't gonna happen. I'm wearing underwear. But really, when you've been broadcasting, you wear the old blue blazer and the white shirt or the light blue shirt, and the weatherman, the newsman's outfit, right? Typical attire. It's like the what's it called, the classic English breakfast. So you got your deal. Here's what you get.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm out there in a toga, my little tidy whities, and sandals, and we're broadcasting in the daylight, outdoors. And I have working with two guys I'd never worked with before, at only the biggest event in our business history, WrestleMania, World Cup. Man, that's the final. This is it. And I had worked 19 years to get there, so it was a real memorable day. And the day and the experience is more memorable to me than the matches. I remember some of the matches, but the day was very epic to my view. And then going into the Hall of Fame in 2007 was a personal neat deal, because it's kind of like I felt a kinship more that night to the fans than I'd ever felt, because it's like they got part of this award too. I got this ring, and it was a neat deal, and the Stone Cold inducted me, and it felt good, and it felt like I was truly able to embrace the fans, and that's always kind of been my goal. Talk to them one-on-one. Don't talk over their heads. Don't talk down to your audience. And I just had a wonderful time with that. So match-wise, it's really hard. I tried to answer this question so many times. What's my favorite match? And it's like saying, which of your children do you like the best? Or when my mother's alive, which of your mother's desserts are you most partial to? Well, you don't want to hurt her feelings. You don't name one. It's like, I have two daughters. Which of your two daughters do you like better? Oh, can't answer that. So that's kind of the same thing, these matches. I've been really blessed to be at the right place, the right time, to call some great ones. So I'd like to do, if I could do a DVD someday of my favorite calls, it would be very challenging to hone that list down to, 30 matches or something. If I had a little wiggle room, I could probably do it. Yeah. But it's okay. You got to put them in an order. We're going to start at 25 and go to 1. Oh, man, that would be hard. That'd really be hard. So
I'd love to see that DVD. Jim Ross, pleasure to meet you.
Good to see you,
Thank you
James.
so much.
Thank you very much.